Hey, welcome to Smart, Fabulous, and Single. I'm your host, Trisha Ann. Today, we're going to enjoy Man Talk, the segment that unlocks the male perspective on the topic for the week. The conversations are really enlightening, but more importantly, it will help us all understand the male psyche and how to navigate it for our relationships and marriage. So, stick around for today's episode, and if you have male friends that want to join me for Man Talk, have them visit the Smart, Fabulous, and Single podcast page at www.sfs1.com. So welcome, gentlemen, to Man Talk, our Smart, Fabulous, and Single segment where we invite men to come in and talk about the topic of the week. And this week we're talking about singleness, whether it's a blessing or a curse. And I'm just excited to hear what the men have to say. I mean, I listened to the women yesterday. We had a great chat, and I believe today is going to be really powerful because, ladies, listen, you need to know what's happening with men so you can understand them and really get into their psyche, not to use it to your advantage, but to know how to partner effectively with them. Okay, so welcome Kareem, welcome Alex. Thanks again for being a part of our Man Talk segment. And just tell me, blessing or curse, is singleness a blessing or curse to you? How do you feel about it?
All right, so Kareem here. Thanks for having me. It's not the first time I'm doing something like this, but this should be a fun experience. The moment you said blessing or curse, a whole host of things ran through my mind, and I don't think anyone can definitively say it's a blessing or a curse, because you have to look at each person's life, each person's purpose, where they are currently in their life. So it is such a dynamic statement to say, okay, it could be a blessing at this point in my life. It could be a curse at this point in my life.
Okay.
Overall, it could be that what is my purpose and what God has for me? If I'm looking biblically, what is set up for me? What if I am supposed to be in a relationship throughout my life, or I'm not supposed to be in a relationship throughout my life? It depends. And I also think that in some cases, when it's supposed to be a blessing, some people make it a curse because of some of the decisions they make in the relationship. So there's so many things to consider when looking at this.
So tell me, Kareem, because I really like what you're saying here. From your own personal experience, when has it been a blessing, and then when has it been a curse, if either one? Tell me about it.
I would say blessing in the point of when I was at the point when I was in a maturity. I think it was a kind of, I think throughout, for me, all of it has been a blessing.
Okay, nice.
And that's for me personally. If I'm talking about other people who have observed their experiences, I can say up and down. But for me, I can say it's a blessing in that throughout my years, I've learned a lot about experiences, and I cannot view any relationship as a curse because one, each experience that you go through is supposed to be a learning curve. You're supposed to be taking something from it, good or bad, that is supposed to help to develop you to move forward. If that relationship was horrible, okay, what can you take from it to better yourself to move into the next relationship? To not to make it be a curse, but also be a blessing for you and the person. A mistake I see too many times is that when we come out of a bad relationship, even if it was a curse and you're supposed to learn something from it so you can take the positives into a new relationship, because they don't deal with the hurt, the scars, the ugliness of that relationship. We enter a new relationship and we take all of that baggage right back and just make what is supposed to be a blessing, turn it into a curse.
Wow. So essentially, you're saying that even though we're single, if we're dating in our singleness, we don't deal with our hurts, and that just transcends every single relationship that we get into after that.
Yeah, it does. Yeah,
Okay, and
I've seen that
and
happen too many times.
and for your own personal experiences, are there any
Yeah.
points where you are not dating, you are single, completely unattached, and you feel like this is a curse?
No.
No,
Why?
because you have to be okay. You have to be okay with being by yourself before you can be in a relationship with anybody. So when I'm not with anybody, I am okay. When I'm with somebody, I am okay as well. I know when I had just turned, when it was 28, no, 29, 30. I don't know if it's because, growing up, you always said that there are transitional ages in your life. But when I started to hit that age, and I was thinking about it from when I was like 15, like I've seen so many marriages and some great marriages that happen around 30, 31, 32, 33, the ones that I respect and stuff. And once I got close to that age, the sense of wanting to get married hit me like a ton of bricks. Like I would
Mm,
wake up in the night, I'm like, no, I feel like I want to get married. Like I need to have somebody with me. The need for comfort, the need for want came up really strong.
Mhm.
But that doesn't mean I thought of it as a curse that I wasn't with somebody. I was still at a point of being okay and knowing that hey, whatever happens, happens at the right time. And based on my life experiences, when things happen or things don't happen, I've learned not to cuss or be malicious because everything has a purpose.
okay, I love that. So even though you got to that place, because I mean, it interestingly, some of the women spoke about getting to that place where, yeah, man, you definitely want to get married now. But even when you got to that place, you never saw it as a curse because you still felt like if it hasn't happened yet, it's not supposed to be happening right now.
Yeah, not necessarily. Yeah.
Okay, all right. I love that. Thanks for that perspective. Alex, my friend.
Yes.
Tell me now, what about you? Singleness, blessing or curse, and why?
Ah, blessing or a curse for singleness. When I heard the topic, I was like, I wonder if this is really. I started to think, no, if it's a blessing or a curse for me. And then I come to realize that it's a blessing, but it's not always easy being single, you know?
Right.
Not always easy. And can I say, I definitely do not want to be single. I don't want to stay single. But I mean, right now in my life where I'm single and not being much searching, but I'm still open. I can say it's a blessing because it's no. I'm saying if I was not single right now, me and that partner will be in so many hiccups, so many battles we have to be fighting because I'm not at the places yet. So be in a relationship with someone. So for now, it's a blessing, where I can prepare myself, prepare my mind, how to adjust when this change come, put myself together. Not that I want to get all right before I become married to someone, but I want to be at a place where I'm able to support that person while they are able to support me. So for now, it is indeed a blessing for me. It's a blessing I can say, but not always easy because I can find that as Kareem says, you just wake up one day, you just like, I need to get married, and as a deacon, this is something that persons attached to the title of a deacon,
Hmm.
you need to be married, you need to have a partner with you, you don't want to be burning, you need to have, and a lot of time these things will come at me, when you're going to get married, you don't find a wife yet. All these things come and it will cause you to think, put in a position to the right. I need to get married. And if you don't mind, sharp will start to rush things, But
Yeah.
also when these things come at me, like, to cause me to think that I need to get married. No, I have to always go back and adjust myself and remind myself that, hey, remember what your purpose is, It's not time for that now. You're preparing yourself for that moment. So don't let what is you're hearing out there or what persons is showing at you because it's the norm. Don't cause it to just run into a relationship. But still hold on. So yes, it's not always easy, but it's a blessing right now for me.
Right. And a blessing because
um,
you're able to use the time to prepare for marriage.
Prepare for marriage, yes.
Okay. Yes, Kareem, you were
um,
saying?
yeah, I have a point to make on marriage, and it has come up several times. And marriage is awesome, yes, and all that crazy love. But then I have an issue with, institutions, as Alex was saying, that kind of put the burden of marriage on your shoulders. And I've had an issue with it for several years. I've seen where even churches have been kind of, you're there in church and you're like, yes, man, these two will get married. You see that? I'm like, there's nothing wrong with not getting married. It's a choice. And I've seen where in some places people have pushed the concept and it has caused so much pain when it shouldn't be something that's causing pain. I've seen many leaders, even in my own church, who are pastors and they're not married and they're great and they're doing the work of the Lord and them look happy in them singleness. Yes, the prospect of them getting married and wanting to get married might be there, but they're quite fine and quite they're older than I am. So I think we have to be careful of this. Yes, we know marriage is great and finding a wife is a good thing, but we have to be careful that not everybody has to get married or needs to go in that direction, depending on where their life is going.
Right, right, right. So it and as you both have said, you don't need to rush into it anyway.
No.
Yes, no.
Right, right. So here, both of you have made a very interesting point that I would love for you to kind of develop on for me. Um, maybe the word isn't develop, maybe the word is explain. Like Alex just said, I have to adjust when this, how you put it, Kareem? The ton of bricks come where you feel like I have to get married. You have to adjust. Exactly what do you do to adjust? Like both of you alluded to it, but what did you physically, mentally, emotionally, whatever it is, do to adjust?
Well,
um. Can go ahead, Alex.
so for an example, as I said before, the thoughts came and one person will come and give encouraging speech to you as to why you need to get married, and what starts to happen is for me, for example, I might scroll through the list of potential females in my head, who I know I have a chance with her, things
I
might work,
like it.
so I go through that list. And the male send a thing to me, start trying to develop something, but at some point in that communication, you pick up that, you know, this way is not how I should enter into marriage. Where I just go through the list and pick out the best one and then, try to see if it will work with this
Right,
person. So I have to adjust in terms of having all these potential persons before me. How do I communicate with them? What type of things are put forward? What those you know then the person is as if you're trying to get to them. You have a interest in them at all time because what happens is you show the interest in them, they might show back interest, and then there is a place where you're like, oh man, this was not birthed out of genuine desire. It was more out of what person, put into me and now I'm playing out. And you realize that there is a place where how do I go back from this now to tell this person that, the interest was not really there. So I had
right,
to adjust in terms of, how I communicate as a single person with other females out there. I had to adjust in that way. Adjust in how I spend time with them, whether it is in person or over the phone, whatever means, I have to adjust to in all of that. And I also adjust in terms of how I occupy my time. As a single person, you cannot just, you have to be busy. If you're not at the place as it, you cannot just be there and leave yourself vulnerable. So I have to keep myself busy with different priorities, so I don't have time to focus on that weakness, that weak part of me, but I'm strengthening the areas where I need to strengthen. So when it's time, I know that yes. So that's how I adjust.
Okay.
That
So so essentially, I love it. I love it. Kareem laugh. Kareem sound like him. It sound like you too. But
but
before you go, Kareem, I just want to be sure I understand, Alex. What you're saying is that one, you have to be careful how you communicate with a woman, because when you recognize you are that you are not actually at the place to jump
yeah,
into marriage, to be in marriage, and you start to have that conversation, it can peak something that you're peaking too early. So you
yes,
have to
no,
adjust how you communicate, how you whether you see her face to face or just talk to her on the phone or talk to her in your call, and then you
yeah,
occupy your time as well.
yes, yeah.
All right, I'm glad I understood, and I love it. I love it. So Kareem, I hear you laughing at the background. Talk to
boy,
me.
Alex, you put for some rough points. That actually happened to me last year. So yeah, yeah, that kind of started to happen. I was having that conversation with her, and put forward the discussion, and marriage really was the topic of the day. It was like early last year, and I was like, yeah, but I'm considering leaving as well. So a lot of things came up in that discussion, and the conversations had changed, and you slowly have to distance. What does help in adjusting to things like this is communication with friends. In adjusting, I had to have there were different discussions that I had, and I wasn't the only person who was going through this kind of internal discussions. So there are a group of friends that I have, and of course, in the medium WhatsApp, and there are times when we just come on and we'll have general conversations about these kind of things. So what helps to keep your head focused is having these conversations with other like-minded people and other young men who are facing similar not challenges, but they're in similar places in their life, and they can also give you advice. So having a support system tends to help in dealing with something like this when you're being bombarded with these type of emotions. And sadly to say, even though Jamaicans have to say, man, for not show them emotions, men in Jamaica are one of the most emotional beings around, whether they like to admit it or not. And being in the company of people you can trust and have that discussion with, without any barriers and walls, and you don't know, hey, this is a girl I'm interested in. You know her, have that discussion, and here are some red flags that came up. Here are some pros, some cons to the situation. I even had a conversation with one of my former neighbors who used to live live in my community, and she um what helped me to make my decision about that step was some of the points that she brought across, and they were really helpful because they were also some of the red flags that I shared. But I had a genuine conversation. It was a good conversation, and I realized that at this point in time is where my life was. I couldn't be looking at marriage right now. So you really have to evaluate where you are in your development. Um, Maturity has stages. So I just had to recognize that at the time I was at a turning point or crossroads in my career, just finishing one of my degrees, looking to travel. I had to decide, was this the time for me to be getting married? So, and I had to make some decisions.
Right, 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 right. And you said red flags. Like I would imagine that some of those red flags are what would make singleness feel like a curse. If you decide that, okay, yes, I'm not necessarily married, but I am still looking to date in my singleness. What are some of these red flags that you found out about?
Some character issues that needed to be with, and I'm not saying that everybody doesn't have red flags, and I'm just saying that at this particular time, it probably was a no. You don't know, even if with that same person down the line, it might be a yes, because it might be something. And this is one of the key things I say all the time, and even in my situation, you can be looking to marry somebody or enter in a relationship, and you enter the relationship at the wrong time.
Okay.
let's say God say, yo, this is your wife, and this is who you're going to marry. And because you're rushing into it, you enter it now. And you turn this thing into a curse when it was supposed to be a blessing. You
Right,
might still
right.
think that was meant for you, and I've seen it happen, and I definitely never want that to happen. So I said, okay, I had some character flaws that I need to build on, to work on. She has some character flaws that she needs to sort out as well. It wasn't just red flags on her end, it was also red flags on my end. We
Okay.
both have things that we needed to deal with before we say, okay, enter into a fully committed relationship, and then all hell breaks loose.
You can come in and just mention red flag. I think Kareem said something before about singleness being a choice for some persons. You know, and I can agree with that. In terms, is that that many persons cannot get married who are single now cannot get married. It's just that the place they're not at the places yet. Or the person that may be interested in them is not someone that can be compatible with them at that time. And I can say for me, many red flags, especially in myself, firstly, is that I some decisions I've made before, they were solely based on feeling. So, you have that puppy love for the person, the butterfly stage, and you want to
Mm-hmm.
make a decision, and you're like, yeah, man, this feels like real love, but we can't really take that puppy stage and use it to determine whether this relationship can lead to marriage. So a red flag for me, it was that puppy love stage, responding to that puppy love to say, yes, man, this could be it. And also not using knowledge of the person. So we look at maybe the person give me a nice gift, the person make me laugh and now they make me smile, but how the person will respond to certain things. And for me, I received many letters, text messages,
Yeah.
of invitations to get or to become into a relationship. But many of the red flags I've identified, it was not really because of I'm saying it was not really out of genuine love for me. It was what I was connected to in the ministry and wanted to be there in the ministry. Maybe it's the potential, he's going to school, he's have a degree in accomplished great things. So it was more what I have and where I'm going instead of really who I am on the inside, which they don't know. So that was a red flag that I would have picked up.
Mm-hmm.
And why I didn't really go into marriage from an early age. Because my dream was, I want to get married when I'm 20, and start children. But that years have passed now and I'm still not married. And now I can see why it did not happen at that time because of some of those red flags which should have been
Right.
there.
Right. And again, the red flags are them not loving you for who you are, but for what you have accomplished and who you are, particularly because you say you're a deacon at church and that
Yeah.
you have your degree and so on and so forth. And yeah, yeah, yeah. I
Yeah,
understand exactly where you're coming from. Kareem, you wanted to
those
say
were,
something?
yeah, and again, everybody's red flags are different. Like mine wasn't based on that actually.
Mm.
And though I have similar again traits as Alex has, the whole degree or whatever I reach in my life, it wasn't based on that. It was just a point where that I had to consider, you know, where we fit for each other at this point in time. Do we have ourselves to deal with? Because there are a whole lot of self doubt, self insecurities that you have to deal with before. Well, I know as a couple you have to grow together. However, you cannot forget the fact that if you don't deal with certain things or get certain processes started before you enter into a relationship, it can do more harm than good.
Right, 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 right. So pretty much, we're looking here at singleness for both of you being a blessing, but not necessarily always easy.
Yeah.
And the blessing is because you can live your life, accomplish things, work on yourselves. But the not easy part is because you do want to be married, and sometimes those emotions take you over, and sometimes some red flags get in the way, some wrong decisions get in the way, and you have to take some steps to correct it. And I really love what you both said. The steps to correct it, either whether it is your support system, somebody that you can talk to, looking out for red flags in yourself and the other person. And like Alex said, adjusting how you communicate and occupying your time. Um, so what would you say then to anybody, whether male or female, having been through this process? You both still are single, you both have dated and come out of dating, considered dating, so on and so forth. What would you say to whether it is male or female about, you know, changing their perspective about singleness as a curse? What would you say to them at this time? If they're seeing it as a curse, how could they see it differently? What would you say to them?
I would say don't, well, the natural thing is to not look at it like that because everything is timing. You have to understand whether you're a Christian or not, things happen for a reason. And you have to appreciate that as things flow and as time flows, whatever is to happen will happen. If things are, if you're supposed to be in a relationship at this time, you're supposed to be in a relationship at this time. If you're not in a relationship at this time, then work on yourself so that when you do get into a relationship, you're ready for that relationship and you don't screw it up. You don't completely turn it upside its head. As you have to understand that you have to be okay being single with yourself and loving yourself first before you can enter into any relationship to love anybody else. Because yeah, it will, it can mess up the relationship. And you
Right.
don't want that to happen. Granted, anything can mess up a relationship, but you want to know that you at least putting yourself in a position of readiness.
Wow. What about you, Alex? Anything from you?
Yes, as to add to what Kareem says, uh, to see your single life as a curse is basically saying, you are a curse. And if you to see your single life as a curse is to basically see yourself or your life that you are a curse. And I'm saying we cannot look at it that way. What I often say to persons is, you're single now. What are you looking for? What in marriage is going to make you feel much different? And persons might say, I'm gonna feel more happy, you're gonna have that comfort from the partner and all these things.
Mm,
I'm saying if you're not happy now, you know,
mm,
that marriage is going to bring that happiness because they're going to be ups and downs in the marriage.
mhm,
They can rejoice now and wait on marriage to rejoice. Trust me, you may not rejoice in that marriage. So when you can put yourself, your singleness in a place now where you are happy, that happiness is brought over into marriage, because you were happy
mhm,
before, you remain happy now. When you can see yourself as someone who's able to provide words of encouragement to your mind when you're feeling like you need to get married now. In the marriage, you cannot offer that same thing to your partner because you can be married, but you feel lonely in the marriage. And we have to know how to live our life in completeness, even though we're single, and still know that, hey, this is a blessing. So we have to change, or as Karim said, our mindset, how we view singleness. Not that it's a curse, but more question as to, why is it that I'm not at that place to get married? As it look into yourself and to see why this is not yet so, and then you can come to a better understanding. And I always say, God said in Genesis that it's not good for a man to be alone, and He knew why that was not the case. And then you have Paul who come and say in Corinthians, where as a single person you're able to do all these, and you're able to dedicate yourself to God. Versus marriage, it's more you're gonna put your husband as a priority as well. And I'm saying link these two together in your single life and see how it can give you comfort. From day one that God says you're not going to be lonely or single, but you can believe God that when you reach to that point where you're getting closer to marriage, that your priority is not so much to get married, but it is for the purpose of God to be fulfilled in your life, and you're happy with the purpose that God has given to you. Whether you're single now or you're married later, let's go change the mindset and have peace about it. That your timing is, as Karim said, God is going to allow the right timing for that to be fulfilled in your life.
Wow. Oh
Yeah,
my
if I
gosh.
can add,
Yeah,
and
definitely.
this thing about the whole concept of happiness, and I'm happy that Alex said it, and I was saying it as well. When you're in singleness, you have to first love yourself and be in a state of happiness. And understanding that people, and I learned this last year, and people might agree with it or not, but people can do whatever they want to make you feel happy, and you still don't feel happy. You have to choose to be happy.
Yeah.
Happiness is not something people can give. You have to choose to be happy. So you have to choose to be happy, and you have to choose to love yourself. And that is what you carry into a relationship. If you don't have those things and you carry it into a relationship expecting somebody to bring you this happiness or the whole giving you love, then it's not going to be pure, and it's only going to be self-destructive. Yeah.
Yeah, that's true, Karim. What we do most times we want to bring the lust into marriage and
Hmm.
not the love.
The lust, not
So,
the love. Come on.
so that
Yep.
desire that persons have, sometimes it's out of the lust, and not really the
Yep.
love. And that's where we messed up. So until we can see our singleness in a love point of view and not from a lust, until we are able to view our single life from a point of love, where whatever we desire out of this singleness is out of love and not out of lust, then we need to keep our cool until we're at that place.
Wow.
Yep.
Wow. I
I
love
agreed.
that. I love you. Listen, women need to hear from a Kareem and Alex every day. No, I'm serious because how are they going to understand what singleness is about and should be about? But more importantly, what a man sees, a Christian man that's maturing sees singleness as.
Yeah,
I mean, because very often they feel like, okay, men are dissing them, but maybe it's because the man has a different perspective and he's working towards that, whether as he's maturing and she's just hot and bothered. But boy, and that is for
yeah,
some women, right? It's not all. But
yeah.
man, listen, I absolutely loved what you guys brought to the table. I really appreciate you taking the time to be a part of Man Talk. I know some woman will be transformed, changed, enlightened, and taken to a higher level because of the wealth of information that you have brought. And I just really
Mm.
want to say hats off to you, man. Thanks for the level of maturity that you brought. And thanks for taking the time to be a part of our Smart, Fabulous, and Single podcast. Blessings to you both, man.
All right. No problem. Thanks for having me.
So, man, thank you so much for having me.
Awesome.
All right. Thanks to both of you. All right. Bless up.
All right. Take care.
All right. Thanks, guys. I really appreciate it. We're at the end. And
Thank you for listening to Smart, Fabulous, and Single. If you loved it, please download, subscribe, rate, and share it. Then head over to our website at www.sfswoman.com to access show notes and other fantastic bonus content and resources, and to sign up as a guest. You can also sign up to continue the conversation in our Facebook group. If you want to share topic ideas, email me at pod@sfswoman.com. Okay, so thanks again, and don't forget to join me for new episodes Mondays to Fridays. You can also connect with me on FB and IG at Smart, Fabulous, and Single. And remember, what you have on the inside of you is far greater than your circumstances, weaknesses, and fears. So you already have everything you need to live life successfully.